Hello, and welcome to the Crowley ISD PLC Curriculum Preview for Biology. I am Troy Shepard, the Crowley ISD Science Coordinator. I look forward to working with teachers and instructional leaders throughout the school year. Please feel free to communicate with me any questions you may have or for additional support. In this video, the we will, I will statements are: we will discuss the proper use of the PLC agenda leading questions, identify curriculum hotspots, address science TEKs, and provide a real-time instructional strategy. At the end of the video, the teachers will complete the PLC for the Science PLC for the TEK B.6a. The we will, I will statements shown are examples of how to frame a lesson as listed in the Fundamental 5. The units that will be covered in the third 6 weeks are Unit 6, Cellular Processes of the Cell Cycle, and Unit 7, Cellular Processes that contain protein synthesis. Please pause the video to review the Unit 6 Local Assessment Blueprint. Take time to note the instructional days and assessment posting and administration dates. Now take a moment to review the Unit 7 Local Assessment Blueprint, noticing that we will be posting the Unit 7 assessment early due to final exams. Please feel free to administer the assessment as early as December 12th. For today's PLC purposes, the materials teachers will need are the Unit 6 IFD, the Content Builder, the PLC for the Science PLC document, the PLC agenda located on the Center for Teacher and Learning tab of the Crowley Independent School District website. Also, you will need green, yellow, and blue highlighters. At this time, we will begin using the organizing instruction using the TEK Standard Types document or the Content Builder. For the purpose of today's PLC curriculum preview, we will be using the Unit 6 IFD, which covers cellular processes of the cell cycle. At this time, please read the TEKs listed on pages 6 through 19 of the IFD. As you review the TEKs, highlight in yellow the supporting standards and highlight the readiness standards in green. All remaining standards are process standards and will be highlighted in blue. Please take a moment to complete this task. Now use the highlighted IFD as a key to place each standard in the corresponding color-coded graphic organizer. Before we identify the hotspot TEK for the third 6 weeks, let's discuss the 3 leading questions on the PLC agenda page. They are: what do we want our students to learn? How will we know if they have learned it? And what will we do if they don't? So let's begin with leading question number 1. What do we want students to learn? When discussing what we want students to learn, teachers will need to use their IFD, specifically paying close attention to the TEK breakdown in the specificity section. This is the what the teachers will need to teach and what the students must learn in order to master the TEK. Leading question number 2 is: how will we know students have learned it? This question includes the in-class formative assessments you create in order to assess student learning immediately, therefore being able to reteach when needed. This may include the use of whiteboards, clickers or polling apps using the iPad, students writing or journaling, or even the IQ slapdown, which will be demonstrated later in the video. Other quick assessment tools like 9 Square or Connect the Dots can also be served as a formative assessment. Other quick assessment tools like 9 Square or Connect the Dots can also be used as a formative assessment. The last leading question is: what will we do when students don't learn? This question can sometimes be interpreted as what teachers will do outside of class time, but this leading question actually addresses what the teacher should do during class time to reteach immediately when they see a disconnect when completing the formative assessments discussed in question number 2. An example would be grouping students together in small groups and letting those who have mastered the TEK complete the next lesson or complete an enrichment activity, while teachers provide support to students who need additional assistance in small group settings. As part of the PLC process, the what we will discuss our hotspot identified using a heat map. For the third 6 weeks in biology, we will target B6A. Take a moment to read over the teak. We have selected B6A because by the color it is an area of concern. Even though it went up by 3 points, this is considered not a significant change. Now let's focus specifically on the teak. As you can see, this is a readiness standard. This standard is part of Reporting Category 2, Mechanisms of Genetics, which makes up 20% of the STAR Blueprint assessment. When reviewing the standard, make sure to identify the cognitive level, the verbs that define what the student will be able to do, the content level, which is the overall concept that the students will learn, and what context it will be taught. This practice aligns with leading question number 1, what do we want our students to learn? Please take a moment to pause the video to look on pages 17 and 18 of the Unit 6 IFD and review the standard and unit level specificity. This is where leading question 1 will come into play. For today's purpose, we will concentrate on the hotspot teak, but you and your team will do this for each teak that is taught in the upcoming units. The second part of the PLC process is the so what, which addresses the implications and also gives teachers the chance to reflect upon teaching practices. At this time, we will pause for small group purposeful talk to discuss seed questions, both of which are attributes of the fundamental 5. Seed questions are essential to guiding and focusing conversations to the desired learning outcomes. During this time, focus specifically on the previously identified teak. Please pause the video at this time to allow for discussion. Before we begin to plan for instruction, let's discuss the ability of students to transfer learning, which corresponds to question 2 of our leading questions. Transfer of learning is the ability to apply knowledge learned in one context to a new context. Transferring learning means that the learner will recognize common features among concepts, skills, or principles. They will also link the information in memory. Generally, this is when the students will say, "Oh, I know when to use that." And lastly, the learner sees the value of utilizing what was learned in one situation and is able to apply it in another. This is when students can show their learning not only when a sample looks like what the teacher gave, but also when it does not. The Now What piece of the PLC curriculum preview starts with using the PLC for the Science PLC page as a tool for creating lessons. Classroom instruction will move to a higher level of understanding as well as offer opportunities for students to transfer information. Because we have covered how to complete the PLC for the Science PLC in previous 6 weeks videos, please pause the video and complete this task with your team. The next slides will provide a real-time example demonstrating the use of the instructional strategy IQ Slapdown in a CISD classroom.
Up, it would still float. Back or fib, cycle. Pick one. Are y'all good at the slap it? This will be great for my tablets. Okay, y'all can stop slapping. Okay, this one is a little tricky. This one I said was a fib. It was a fib.
But it's like no. All right.
It does. Someone says the same weight. But what does density depend on? It doesn't depend on. Not size. Here. Stop. 0, 0. Think. Don't just blurt out an answer. What 2 things does density depend on? There's 2 things. No, don't blurt out. And it's not size and weight. It's 2 other things density depends on. Annie. No, that's what density is. Mass and volume. Okay, if you take that particular piece of foil, it would all have the same size foil, and crumple it up, did I take away mass, add mass? What did I do when I crumpled it?
You didn't do nothing but just crumple it up.
Exactly, I didn't change the mass. Did I change the volume?
Yeah.
Can a crumpled, hold on, listen, can a crumpled piece of aluminum foil hold the same amount as one that was shaped in a boat?
Yes.
No.
You
You
didn't
didn't
say
say
the
the
ball.
was going to
You didn't say the way it was holding. It sounded like that project we did.
Okay, this is my ball. Pretend it's aluminum because I don't remember what aluminum is. Okay,
This time.
yes, this guy does have it. So, I got two pieces of paper, same mass. Did I change the mass?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just say I made kind of like a little envelope here. It's a very bad envelope, but it's an envelope. So if I staple this on the side, could you put stuff inside this?
Yes.
Very bad envelope.
No.
You could put stuff inside?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I can put that in there.
Oh, yeah. Why are you stealing?
Okay, I can put that in there. Okay, so I can put stuff in my little yucky envelope, right?
You're
Okay, so that has volume. Oh, you. That's yours. Which one? That one's yours. Those are the yellow ones. Okay, so this one, because it was a different shape, held volume. Okay? What do we think? Can I hold the same three pencils with this?
No.
No, but still, what does that have to do with it sticking or floating?
I'm gonna tell you. Okay? I've got one. I've got one. Hold on. Alright, so what do we think? Can I hold the same things with
No.
Just stick them in there by the leg. That's cheating.
It's not cheating.
But you
Okay.
didn't say that we had, it was going to hold something.
Hold on. I want you to listen. Okay? This is where sometimes we get confused between mass, volume, and density. Okay, the mass stayed the same. Right? We all agree. Mass is the same. What changed is the volume. When the volume changes, that changes the density of it. Okay? If I were to put this in water, you could float something on it. Think of it as the aluminum boat. This is not going to hold anything. You couldn't put a single glass bead on this. It's just going to sink to the bottom. Because it's the volume that created the aluminum foil to float. L'Oreal, you have a confused look. How many of y'all changed the size of your boat?
Another integral part of the Now What relates to question number 3. What will we do when students don't learn? This is intervention. Take time now to discuss the following questions and what they may look like on your campus. During class time and outside of class time, how will we provide students with additional time and support in a timely, directive, and systematic way when students experience difficulty? How can we enrich the learning of students who are already proficient? I appreciate you participating in the PLC curriculum preview. When you plan on utilizing IQ Slapdown, please invite me into your classroom, as I would love to see the classroom implementation. If you have suggestions for future curriculum previews, please submit ideas to tshepard@crowley.k12.tx.us. Also, I would love to hear from you if you have an instructional strategy that you would like to showcase in upcoming videos. Finally, please be sure to submit a copy of the PLC for the Science PLC document, the PLC agenda, and the content builder to the appropriate campus designee. Thank you, and as always, I appreciate your time, and remember, I am here to serve you.